Hi, welcome to Family Sense. Family Sense is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage, especially in these toughest times. This is a production of No Regrets Communication, a division of Hope Education Network. Should you have any questions or need any information, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554. You can also contact us on 0754 734 738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. Right now, join in for insights from today's session. God bless you.
Budgeting. Extremely important. Hey, when did you first hear about this story? We left it there in Sunday school, thinking it knows the children's stories. And what does he say? Look at what they did next. When they had had enough to eat, he said to his managers, please do what? Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted. Do you count the leftovers? Do you see how detailed things should be? So when you choose to avoid that kind of detail, you are being what? It is Pastor Lucy who is. You are being what? Somebody is saying childish. Not childlike, childish. Because it is good to be childlike, but not childish. We are counting the costs. If somebody even counts, I think he had lost power to create a miracle. Who is a Christian? One who follows Christ. Yes. Who is like Christ. So are you like Christ in counting costs? Are you Christian? Okay. Are you financially Christian? Those are hard words. Okay? We are building a foundation for counting what? Including leftovers. And let me tell you, I have seen businesses collapse just because they are ignoring 1.5 shillings they are losing on a product. 1.5 what? Shillings. Does even 1.5 shillings make sense to you? I'm not saying 150 shillings. I'm saying 1.5 shillings. Are you there? Of course, I said when you taken that journey, you feel like somebody is being strange. And I'm sounding strange to you, but I have seen even something like $40 million investments collapse by ignoring those small things. In Uganda here. Okay? Counting the what? And if you don't count the costs, do you see nothing should be wasted? Let me tell you about what waste has become. In Luke chapter 15, verse 11 to about verse about 16. Jesus continued. This businessman is very serious at speaking, yeah? And selling his things, his product. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between who? Them. That is a father. supplying to his children. And God does that a lot. He gives us things. Now, not long after that, the younger son got together all he had. And what did he do? He set off for a distant country, and there he squandered his wealth in wild living. You know, the word wild means you have no what? Formula. You are not controlled. Can you have a tamed cat or not? Can you have a wild cat? Can you also have a wild dog and even a tamed dog? What's a tamed dog like? Is it useful or not? How about a wild dog? So can you have a tamed person? How about a wild person?
Yes.
So, are you and I financially wild or not? I hope you are not wishing that I wish I didn't come today. Because things are seemingly, yes. Now, he wasted in wild what? Living. After he had spent everything. By the did he get? Yes. Did he spend well? No. Did he count his costs? No. There was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in what? Need. Why? Okay. So he went and he hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed what? Pigs. Is that bad business? Piggery? Not bad business. Why not? There is no bad job here. But the problem is verse 16. He longed to do what? To fill his stomach with the feed of what? Pigs. The moment a person begins to desire food of pigs, isn't he a pig himself inside there? So how many of us desire to go and hire ourselves out into slavery? Just because we just chose a piggery mind. And we know they are harvesting kidneys, and we still go. I will die there. People, that is not healthy. Anyway, verse 17 should give us some sense. When he came to his what? Senses. He said, I must get out of piggery mentality. I must turn myself from being a wild person, a wild spender, a wild what? Business beginner. I have seen even people lose their hard-earned money entering into business because bifuna without counting the cost. They lose it, then they blame the person who... No. Turn to your ignorance. And if it's not ignorance, turn to your foolishness. If it's not foolishness, then you are just exploited, whatever else. But we said we must break those barriers. Are we talking about getting material what? Rewards? Have we lost track of that? So what is the point here? Let us stop being what? Wild in our ways. Let us tame our lives. Let us learn certain essential disciplines of life and counting costs, regardless of where you are, regardless of the business you are doing, even whether you are employed somewhere or you are doing the business of IT, you are doing agriculture, or you are doing anything in this world. There are only two kinds of costs. The first cost is the cost of delivering what? Products. And the second type of cost is what? Cost of operating the business. That is it. The rest are details. If you master that and how those two kinds of costs operate, you are in serious business. If you don't understand how those two kinds of costs operate, you miss it. And you see, these are strange areas. Strange because we have never known them, some of us. But now the Lord is actually letting them know to us. So, cost of delivering a product. The detail under it is just that. Of what sense is that? Then cost of operating a business. The result is under there. But if we speak, those are statements and they remain mysteries. They remain what? And I wouldn't like them to remain mysteries. My prayer is that we understand them. Oh, but you see, when you are going to tell someone something and it is new to him, it can be heavy. It can be what? Heavy. And if he has taken some 2 mandazis and 3 samosas on an afternoon like this one, which is hot, what's going to happen? The person is going to begin closing his eyes involuntarily. You understand? The eyes begin to do what? Close involuntarily. And the thing is hard. Hard not because it is hard, but because it is new. But it is just very ordinary thing. And actually you should cause it to become ordinary to you. Right? But because it is new, you might assume it is hard. But if we had studied our math properly from kindergarten, things would not be that difficult. And you know, the battle we have is we are made to hate math. We are made to hate what? And we are even told math is difficult. In fact, even the educators of math tell you, please, if you joke with math. You need to be attentive so that you don't, because math is hard. And then you will hear math is hard. Not be attentive so that you may see how simple math can be. Have we just worked out some math together here? A fish, but it is meant to be ordinary, and it doesn't require someone to be special, intelligent, something, to have an IQ of 300%. No.
Remember that you're engaged in a Family Sense gathering, which is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage. I hope you're enjoying yourself.
A fish, but it is meant to be ordinary, and it doesn't require someone to be special, intelligent, something, to have an IQ of 300%. No.
Mr. Mwesiga.
Yes, please.
You can say that God made man sin.
God made what?
Man sin.
Yes.
What does it mean?
But we make ourselves plain and simple. He says God made man what? Plain and simple. But we make ourselves very what? Complicated. Ecclesiastes 7:29.
So, building on that, because the world
created its own system and infrastructure, like what you say, hardware and software. The people that are supposed to hire themselves as slaves, reverse engineering is supposed to begin well early. So things that offer basic solution, you're programmed to believe are difficult, so you give up. And focus on what you think is easy, and then be on the receiving end.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So the details, the basics.
The basics are omitted so that you're given the very complicated things. So that you do not have time to think or to try and work out the simple ones. So you focus on the complicated ones so that you give up quickly.
You give up what?
Quickly.
Okay.
So that then at the end, not that I become a pig, but you look for opportunities to hire out yourself.
Thank you so much. Have you heard the message? The basics on which life is lived are hidden away. And one constructs something which hides those basics away from you. And you look at the complicated things and you feel like they are too hard. I think I need to be like Muzungu in order for me to do anything. So you would rather hire yourself out the other way and wait for a spanner to be brought from China or America. But meanwhile, they say, let me take this iron ore from you and take it for the other side, and you come and buy the spanner.
Just for clarity and why I raised that, my first interaction with Family Sense and exposure to Genesis and work systems, I remember telling Mr. Mwesigwa that the economics I studied, commerce and economics combined, and then had been summarized that day in 3 hours. Basically understanding work systems, costs and rewards. But you are subjected to an elaborate process and system, and the end, you still have no solution for your people. Because you now begin arguing about theories, oligopoly and theories. Basically, which one is good? Is it where the government plans or where it leaves people to plan for themselves? And then you spend your entire time there. These ones are good, but these ones fail here. These ones are good, and yet we are supposed to be fruitful. But now that's the mathematics they take away from us. And wait to go and buy.
Oh, yes.
And I think that's where the global wars and politics is centered. Who should buy and who should supply? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hand clap for him. Look at that sheet of paper. We have to deal with these things in the plainest possible way. And if we are ever to understand the plain and simple principles, we must adopt a proper way. And the proper way is actually to follow the story. To follow what? Now, a story is several ideas, one connected to another, which have a beginning, and you follow through up to the end. The moment you break in between, you lose it. That's where it is. So we want to test this counting we want to do on an example, a real example of someone who is actually selling menvu. Selling what? Should we bring an example of a helicopter? No. Menvu. What? Menvu. Are you looking at it there? Now the first line, the first yellow picture. Let's look at, we have two columns there. There is a column which is called scenario 1. Okay? Are you seeing it there? It is somewhere here. You can choose to ignore the other column and just look at here. Just this downwards. This one here, downwards. Ignore the other for now. But my prayer is, and may the Spirit of the Lord help you to follow the story. Now, this person, I and Mrs. Kayondo were helping the person to make sense of his menvu business. He had spent many years struggling with menvu. In fact, he quarreled with menvu and felt like, I think God did just love him to condemn him to selling what? Menvu. Now we say, please, what's the real problem you have? Let's get down here. And we are talking of the year 2015. And the man just felt that he was just, I think a cat died on him. You know when a cat dies? That was the mind he had. His family was increasing. He was doing menvu and man, things were difficult. Now, we began to say, let's organize our system of what? Of work in menvu. Those are what we call bananas. Eh? You see this title here? Bananas, that one there. So we say, he goes to a place called Lyantonde and gets a consignment of bananas and brings it to Kampala. I'm not saying Kampala. I don't want to say Kampala. Let's be straight and clear. Let's make sure we do things properly. Will somebody say, will somebody accept you to call New York New Yorker? No. You see? It's called New York. Now when you mention it in New York, I say, he's this guy, come on. Yeah? Now you see, you say, I'm going to Tororo. No, it is Tororo. That is in Ijap, Tororo. Okay? So Kampala. So he gets things from Lyantonde and brings them to where? His consignment includes how many bunches? 150 bunches. Now just take an imagination of 150 bunches of menvu. That is his business. That is his consignment. And when he is buying it from the farmer, he buys that bunch at 5,000. The size of bunches he would buy them at 5,000 shillings. So if you count your math very well, the cost of all those bunches together is what? 750. Just imagine 750 in somebody's what? Pockets. And he's going to buy what? Menvu. Of course, either it looks like the person is either stupid or the person is just menvu. Menvu. Or is just extravagant. Anyway, but this is somebody's what? Business. For you, you buy menvu, one what? Cluster, not bunch. I hope, let's differentiate. Let's follow the story. We are talking about what? Bunches, not clusters. We are talking about enkota, not chiwago. Are you able to follow the story, please? Yes. And something very interesting. When he brings them to Kampala, he doesn't sell them as bunches, but he sells them as clusters. So there is a conversion of product there. His work process involves, one, him traveling from Kampala by bus to Lyantonde. He goes there without the bananas, but money in his. Now when he gets there, he goes to farmers and buys all those bananas, collects them in some place, and the first thing he faces are what we call market dues. Because he doesn't go to farmer by what? Farmers. But he goes in a farmer market. And the moment he's there and he piles up his 150 what? Bunches, the Musolom person says, leave 1,000 there. Those are market dues. After giving the 1,000, there is someone who now has to load it onto the vehicle. He can't hire a vehicle from Kampala to Lyantonde and back for 150. No. Doesn't make economic what? So he loads his goods together with several other people on the same truck. So that means he needs to label. Are you seeing on that example you say? He must label his menvu. And then, before they get loaded. And to really do that, he needs 15. He would use 15 what? 1,000. How much is that per bunch?
1,000.
No. 100. It is 100 shillings, but please, it matters.
Yes.
Are you following the story?
Yes.
Because what happens if the bunches are not labeled? Are you seeing the picture? That's why you see on Matoke, you see what? JK, XO, whatever it is. That is a work process in the business of menvu. Are we together? And every step in the process has a cost attached to it, however small it appears to be. Now, look at the transport, the cost of transport. First of all, he goes by himself. And in those days, he would travel from his store here in Kampala to go to Lyantonde at 13,500. These days, it's not for 13,000. These days, it is 20,000. By bus. But he could also hire a car and go if he wanted to. Would he be able to match up the costs? We are talking about counting costs. So, when he reaches there, he purchases the things, and for him, he travels what? Back at 15 what? That's what he would cost. Is he moving on the truck with his menvu? No. Because he can't sit on the menvu, he will spoil them. Are we together, people? But then, he would be charged 90,000 for his menvu to be brought to Kampala. Are you following the work process? And the cost involved in each step. So the total cost of transport is actually, how much is it? 118,500. But you see, when he reaches Kampala, what happens? He does not offload it himself. There are two things. Even if he wants to do so, they will say ojja kutubba. So someone else has to offload, and he also has to give some jobs to others. Somehow people create their own jobs there by that system. Their systems you won't change. So there is offloading, and it is 60,000 for all the 150,000. So there are additional costs he incurs. Are you seeing them there? How much is that? 140,500. So he bought the goods themselves at 750, but then he has other costs added to them, 140,500. These numbers here are interesting for programmers especially. They create step 1. Are you seeing A, B, C, D, E, F, G there? They mean something. Look at the stage called round trip to purchase and bunch. Okay, you see step I? Step I means that you are adding F, G, and H. You are adding 13,500, 15,000, and then 9,000, 90,000 to get that, okay? So don't struggle with that. Then the additional costs shows K, isn't it? K, it means I'm adding D, which is the market dues, E, which is the what? The laboring and loading, L, and I, which is the total transport, and J, which is offloading. So I get that. Understood? Now when we get to, let's go down. Cost of purchasing, the what? The menvu, from the point of purchase up to the store, adds up to how much? 890,500. Are you following the math? Yes. But you know, this man does not sell bunches of menvu. He actually sells clusters. That means he must cut them to form clusters, and he's charged for it. If you think you don't need someone to help you, you just get a knife and try to cut just one bunch like this. Then if that is, you are still strong, cut the second one. If you're still strong, cut the third one. You realize you need help.
Family Sense is on a mission of teaching God's truth for reforming marriages and building families throughout the nation. Stability of our nation can only be realized with well-founded families and marriages. We therefore invite you to engage in Family Sense gatherings. Should you have any questions or need specific assistance, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554 or 0754 73 4738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. God bless you. We look forward to seeing you next time.